Most SMEs dream about scaling their business, but here is the problem. They do not have a clear roadmap. Instead, they jump from one idea to the next and wonder why things do not work. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to create your own simple 90-day roadmap to scale your business. And this is important so you know exactly what you need to focus on. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is day 29. We're just one day away from the finale, which is the 30-day finale in this 30-day SME Growth Mastery Challenge. And thank you so much for all the people that have joined the challenge. Thank you for the support, for the comments, and for the application of the growth action plan that we have given to you guys for free. If you have not yet downloaded that action plan, make sure to do so. Link is in the description down below. It's the 30-day SME growth action plan. Is free. It's basically plug and play. Download it today and create your very own unique growth action plan. What we need to look at is this. As an entrepreneur, one thing that you must focus on is to scale. Remember, you're in it for the profit and you're in it for revenue. You're in it to serve your clients. If you want to serve a bigger portion of the market, it means you need to scale. If you want to solve bigger problems, you want to solve more problems, you need to scale. So scaling is something that we cannot really run away from. Every 30 days, what we have actually given to you are tools, strategies, tips that you can actually use to create your own growth frameworks. Now, in this particular video, then what we need to look at is your very own structure in creating that 90-day growth roadmap. So this 90-day scaling framework or roadmap is actually a short-term action plan that you can start implementing today once you have created it so that you get to where you want it to be. Remember, right now, you're at a particular position. To move from where you are to where you want to be, it must be intentional. It must be structured. There has to be a particular strategy, a format that you focus on or that you use to get you to your destination. So basically what we are saying is that if you do not plan, then it's going to be difficult for you to achieve that particular objective, which is to scale your business. Often this is the norm. You always need to have a long-term objective. You start with a broader objective and then you do some reverse engineering and come back to where you are so that you can now map your steps to where you're supposed to be. So in this case, let's say you've got a huge growth objective for maybe 3 years or even a year. Then you can use this particular 90-day growth framework or scaling framework to actually separate it or divide it into manageable action plans that you can start doing right now for you to achieve that particular goal. Okay, so let's look at exactly the things that you need to focus on. What exactly do you need to do to build that 90-day scaling roadmap? The first thing that you need to do then is to set clear goals. Okay, we have spoken about goal setting in the past. And we know exactly that if you're setting goals, you need to follow the SMART framework where we say that goals must be specific, measurable, they must be achievable, realistic, and there must be a time frame to them. Okay, but this is not exactly what we're talking about here, although that is integral in your goal setting process. You need to know that this, I'm not going to speak about this now because we have spoken about it so much in the past. I'm assuming that you already know about that. If you don't, then look at one of the links that I'm going to put on this video to show you exactly how you can use the SMART framework to set clear goals. Now, in this particular step, what you need to focus on are 2 or 3 growth objectives, exactly things that you want to do in that particular 90 days. Now that you've identified what those are, then you're going to prioritize these 2 or 3 items. For instance, you could say that you need to grow your revenue by 20% on a month-to-month basis, or in the next 3 months, or you need to onboard more clients, or you need to generate more leads, whatever that particular goal is, it means that in this particular action plan, this becomes a priority. And then number 2, you need then to break those goals into milestones. Now, what I mean by breaking them into milestones, for instance, you could say divide the 90 days into 3 by 30 sprints, which means that in every month there's a specific thing that you're doing that gets you closer and closer to that particular priority that you set as a clear goal. For instance, you could say in month 1, you're going to do research and then awareness campaigns. And then in month 2, you're going to maybe educate your audience if it is something new that you're putting into the market. And then in the 3rd month, you're going to double down, maximize and optimize all your efforts to generate as many sales as possible, and then to close your clients so that you get that revenue that you set as an objective in your particular goals. And then the third thing that you must do then is assign actions and honors. Now, what this means is that there must be a specific activity that is attached to a particular person, and there must be a deadline attached to that. Now, what this is trying to tell us is that if there is no accountability, it becomes very, very difficult for us to track if or not tasks are being done or they are done properly. Now, in big teams or in big organizations, usually the problem is that there is overlap of activities. The overlap coming from the fact that, one, people do not know what they must do, which means tasks have not been assigned to individuals, or deadlines have not been expressly set out. So people are just moving along on a day-to-day without really having that accountability in place to say that on such a day, we require you to report back on the progress that you have done as far as this particular or this specific activity is concerned. So you need to make sure that you have assigned people to specific tasks, and because of that, they are accountable to complete those specific tasks within a specific time frame. At all times, time, and time frames are always important, especially in planning and implementation of plans, because this allows us the opportunity to go back and measure whether or not this was done or not. And then number 4, you need to track progress weekly. Now, if you're tracking progress weekly, you are basically evaluating and adjusting. Oftentimes, a lot of entrepreneurs wait for the entire 90 days or the 6 months, even a year, without conducting evaluation. Now, you are evaluating so that you can see if there are deviations in your implementation that is taking away your efforts from the ideal position to whatever is happening there. So oftentimes you find that the starting point is a good point, but as soon as you start your activities and your operations, you start deviating from the ideal situation. So you need to compare the ideal versus the reality. Once you have done that comparison, then you need to adjust. You need to always take back your efforts into that growth path or into that particular specific path that you want to be moving on for you to achieve a particular goal. Now, there are so many routes to a destination, but there are other routes that do not take you to the destination. For example, if you are supposed to be going east, you find yourself going west, then that is a problem. Or if you're supposed to be going north, you are northwest. It means that there's a deviation from the ideal situation. Therefore, you need to make sure that you start adjusting all your efforts, your activities, your resources, and whatever you're doing to get you back on that road path. Let's say you are running a booking platform. You have just started at this platform, and a lot of people do not know about you, about your business, about what you do. What I would advise is that in the first month, you do research about your target audience, because research is significant in the sense that you want to constantly gather data on what is working, on what they're doing, on what they're not doing, what are they preferring. If you find this out, at the same time or concurrently, you need to be running awareness campaigns. Now, the awareness campaigns is so that people know exactly what kind of offers are out there. What is it that you're offering to the market and why they should be interested in it? And then in the second month, then you can start your onboarding or maybe lead generation. And this lead generation can be accompanied with you're educating the market, putting out content out there, telling them about your platform, telling them about the benefits of using your platform or your software, whatever the case might be. The ideal situation there is that you want them to make informed decisions when they onboard onto your platform. So then in the next month, then you start optimizing, closing, upselling, cross-selling if there are any opportunities for you to upsell and to cross-sell, because you want to make sure that you get the most out of your efforts in putting that particular offer into the market. So always optimize in the third month so that you, when it comes to the end of that 90 days, you can now go back and see if you have achieved what you wanted to achieve. Now, I need to say this for most of you, maybe that are just going on a day-to-day basis and it has become sort of a monotonous thing. You just wake up and then you go through your emails. There is no strategic plan that you're following to scale your business. It will not work if you are just focusing on growth without having a clear, well-set roadmap. Then this is going to be impossible for you. What you need to be doing right now, you need to do this activity. Start today so that when we get to tomorrow, then you've got a clear, well-set idea on what you should be focusing on in the next 30, in the next 60, 90 days, or whatever time frame you choose to set your roadmap for. But action plans are specific for actions that need to be done in a particular framework. It's called an action plan for a reason. There has to be action that you're taking, but the action that you're taking has to be strategic. It has to be planned. It has to be specific. And there has to be an implementation strategy to follow through that particular plan. A plan without follow through, it will remain as just a document that will not come to fruition. So if you are really interested in creating such a plan, a 90-day, even 6 months or whatever time frame you prefer, you could contact us. The details are in the description down below so that we can have that 30 minutes non-obligation call to find out exactly what you can do right now to create your very own specific action plan to achieve your goals for this year. We still have got about 90 days plus to the end of the year. Most of these things that you set out at the beginning of the year are still doable, and we are positioning ourselves to help you achieve exactly that. Let's end this year with a bang. Call us, book a call, email us, leave a comment, and we'll get back to you with a particular specific action plan that we can start working together, you and I, to make sure that we get you to that specific objective that you want to achieve by the end of this year. If you have not yet downloaded the 30-day SME Growth Action Plan, make sure to do so. Link is in the description down below. Here at Phiri Marketing, we are really interested to see you scale your business. This is our objective for the near foreseeable future. We want SMEs in South Africa, Africa, and the world over to start scaling and to start doing so now. Early preparation equals excellent results. Thank you so much for watching day 29. Can't wait for day 30. Please make sure that you watch it tomorrow as we hit with the finale. So much that I've prepared for you. Please watch day 30 and be prepared for what we have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.